My theory, well, that kind of is nationals, but still, my theory
It
about
just went
Vogel
live,
is
by the
that.
way.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, hi.
So,
You may want to, if it's a theory you don't want to
yeah,
share with, you know,
I
a
don't
lot.
want to share that theory with too many people.
Okay. Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name is Ben Stecker. I'm here to answer your shooting questions. Joining today is producer Candice.
Hi.
Jesus. And this smiling face, look at that. Oh, it's Nick Yanutola. Is that the right pronunciation, Nick?
Yanutola.
Oh, yeah,
Yanutola.
no. I'm just,
Pretty close. You
we
were.
need a different, we need something easier. Okay, so you might be wondering who this person is. Nick, you're a top 16 Grandmaster at USPSA, IDPA Master Guy. You've won quite a few regional matches, yes?
IDPAs. I've won quite a few. USPSA. I'm kind of still working on it.
You're, you're kind of still working on it. That's nice. Nick also trains people on how to shoot more gooder, but not in a super official capacity. Is that accurate?
That's true. There are guys that I work with that are mostly in state, but if people come from out of state, I will work with them too. But yeah, I train people locally.
All right, cool. So with that out of the way, discussion topic for today. There's a sort of an interest. I don't know if the thread's really interesting, but the topic's interesting. This was teed up by everybody's friend, Mr. Gabe White, who has previously appeared on here.
Yes, as King of Junk Carry.
Yes, the king of all junk carry. So he teed up a thread on Pistol Forum talking about the range of performance, meaning like how well you shoot, and performance on demand, and what on-demand performance means versus your personal best run versus maybe what is your guaranteed performance. There was a lot of questions here, and it did tee up some discussion. So, Candice, what was the most interesting question that you pulled out of this thread? We'll talk about that.
Well, I think the most interesting question was, I mean, do you train to shoot on demand, or do you train to just keep getting your personal best better and better and better and hope that your on-demand performance kind of keeps up with it? That's what I thought was interesting.
Well, Nick, how do you feel about that? Being a competitive shooter,
Yeah,
I guess we know what your on-demand is.
Right. Well, just to clarify, I'm a 100% competitive shooter. I don't know if we went over that, but anybody who doesn't know me, I'm 100% competition. I have no law enforcement or military experience, so strictly,
you don't shoot people in the face?
I don't shoot anyone in the face. So from that perspective,
you don't have a beard, so nobody's surprised.
No beard, correct. So I read through the thread, and my personal opinion on the questions is that they're too compartmentalized, or there's too many. That thread was a little busy for me.
Well, the thread was retarded, but it
was only 14 pages, right?
Right. I didn't even read all the pages. So just Mr. White's original set of questions, I try to simplify that in my head and in my own practice regimen, I guess, depending on what I'm doing that day, of course. But when I look for like on-demand performance, to me, on-demand is at any stage in the match, not just the first one, but including the first one as well, obviously. So if I'm gonna be going for some kind of on-demand performance, I'm gonna go set up a stage that I'm gonna shoot, and then I'm gonna warm up as if I was at a match, do a bunch of dry draws, whatever, and then I'm just gonna shoot it as well as I possibly can from the first run on, and then I'm gonna record that hit factor on every run. I'm gonna do like 5 runs. I'm gonna kind of look at the average and maybe compare my first run.
Because we're talking about during your own training, you can kind of measure your on-demand.
Right. That's how I get a sense of what my on-demand is. Now I'm not consciously looking for, is my grip going to be this way, or am I going to look at my sights this way because it's an on-demand run? Like I don't think about that. I try to shoot when I see the sights are on target, and I don't think of it. I don't have the granularity of the questions they were asking.
You don't think that it's like, oh, this one really matters, this stage or this shooting problem, I'm going to get all A's and think about that or something like that?
when I'm shooting a field course in practice, to me that they all matter. Like I don't.
Okay.
I don't
Well, I mean,
excuse one
I
run.
think that was the idea in the thread, was that it was like people were doing T-Pog's, fast test like crazy fast, and then they were doing it like really slow or something, like 100%. See how many times they could do it 100% or something.
Right. Well, I'd say there's a lot of value in the fast end of that. I wouldn't see the point of really doing it slow.
Well, I think a lot of people, it was like consistency is slow, or slow is consistent, or something. I don't know.
Okay. I don't like that line of thinking.
I don't like it either.
Right. I forget who it was, but somebody chimed in the thread and said to them on demand meant comfortable. And to me, like that makes a lot of that's kind of my own thinking, is on demand is just kind of what I would comfortably do. I mean, in any given scenario without like pushing or trying. I'm just shooting a stage or just shooting a drill in practice like the first time. That would be, I would just shoot it sort of comfortably at my own speed, my match speed, and however well I do, I suppose that's my on-demand performance, which is usually not as good as my personal best, which is like the best I can do given repeated attempts, going like a fucking retard. Yeah. And Nick, I'm sure you've had plenty of go like a retard moments in practice and get a cool personal best.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's of course there's a place for that, and that's where I find, of course, you raise your bar like they're talking about in the thread. So.
Well, here's the interesting thing. There's kind of I mean, the question is, I suppose you can look at that thread and it's like the question is, does your personal best, does that matter? Does it matter what your personal best is? Or does the only thing that matters is that you're on demand?
Your personal best matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If your personal best.
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Because your match performance ideally is going to be a percentage of what your personal best is, right? So if you can't go faster than a 1.5 draw in practice, you're never going to go faster than a 1.5 draw in a match, right?
Yeah.
When I really like, and I'll plug Ben's class here, but before I ever took Ben's class for the first time, I just started shooting USPSA. I'd come from IDPA, but I wasn't really practicing in the right way, and I had never spent a significant amount of time improving my personal best on discrete gun handling and shooting skills. And when I actually started doing that, I really started picking up speed in matches.
Well, so to sort of explain that in a different way, it's kind of like instead of shooting a big stage or drill and being like, I'm going to try to get faster at this whole thing, you broke it apart, looked at the little pieces, and improved each piece individually. Right? And sort of tracked it.
Yes, tracked it. And tracked it to a point of like, I still still have a set of discrete drills that I do every now and then, and baseline make sure that I'm, still gun handling this fast, or I'm still, able to do this discrete skill in this amount of time, even if I spend more time now shooting like bigger stage type exercises in practice.
Yeah, and the other thing for me, I think my personal best matters because a lot of it's about your mindset and your confidence. So if you know that your personal best, like if you look at something like, yes, I can do that, or I can be that fast, and it makes you feel so much more comfortable with shooting sort of your match speed. Where if you just get used to running the shit out of the gun really fast, so you don't feel like you're pushing just to shoot like a comfortable competitive match speed. That's how I feel about it. I feel pushing the personal best really does improve your mindset.
Yeah. Absolutely.
As long as, like for me, I like to make sure that I'm consciously going to decide to have a push run on anything, or like that I'm going to go apeshit now, and bad things could happen. Like when I'm shooting this aggressively, making that decision constantly or making a conscious decision.
Making that decision consciously sounds like an interesting idea. That sounds like a good idea.
That's really important.
Yeah.
If you don't know where your limit is, then you don't know what you can actually do in a match either, right? So.
Yes.
I want to know what my limit is on this skill or this whatever, and then that knowledge can only help me in a match. It's not going to hurt me.
Definitely. All right. So anyway, it's an interesting-ish idea for a thread, even if after the first few pages, the thread kind of is fucking stupid with people posting fast test numbers or who cares. But if you want to check it out, I'm sure Candice will put it in the show notes. Nick,
Yes.
do you have anything else to say about it?
Just not the way I've covered yet, but as I've come more into USPSA, and especially this year, my entire point of my practice and training at this point is to improve that consistency level that they're talking about.
Like your on-demand consistency.
Right. Yeah. So I was spending from say like mid 2012 to say mid 2013 or even after that. I was trying to increase these discrete skills that I mentioned earlier more. I was spending more time on that, and it really helped me a lot. Now I've kind of come full circle back to working on stage level stuff now, and I think that's helped me build that.
You can correct me if I'm wrong about this, Nick, but as a top 16 guy, and you just kind of got to that level last year, you probably feel like there's no motherfucker at a match that can do something that you can't do, right? Like you don't watch anybody do something, you're like, I couldn't do that. Like I can't do it.
Right. I would agree with that.
Right, but it's a matter of can you execute it consistently, even to the point where you'd be comfortable trying it in a match or something like that.
I'll say that I haven't watched anybody do something in a match that I can't do in practice if I hammer out enough times. They're super top level guy. Their personal best is still gonna be better than mine for the most part, depending on what it is, a little bit. But yeah, certainly the consistency is the biggest difference between say like a mid-level GM and a top GM from what I can see.
Yes. All right. Good. Candice, let's talk about shooting. Let's move on to some questions.
All right. So here's the first question for the day. Does sight radius have any any influence on overall accuracy? For example, a 5-inch gun versus a 4.5-inch gun. I've noticed that since I have a 5-inch gun, I can be more sloppy with sight alignment and still get good hits. Do you think it's because of longer sight radius or just because of different sight configuration? I don't know the sight configuration, but.
I could say for me, I've always shot between either a 4-inch gun would be the shortest, and I guess technically a Beretta's a 5-inch gun. People call it, but it's like a 4.7-inch sight radius would be the longest I've had. I haven't really noticed a difference. So no, I mean maybe it is easier or something to line up a longer sight radius, or you're more conscious of sight misalignment. But for me, I can't say that I've noticed a real big difference. What about you, Nick?
So I can actually speak to this a little bit. So for the last year, I've been shooting the stock 2, but I did shoot for about 3 months. I shot a Limited Pro last year that I was using in some specific matches.
So specific, you mean IDPA?
IDPA, yes.
Would you beat that into the IDPA box in a crowbar with a crowbar? Like,
hey, I fit it in with a hammer. So that's
okay. It depends on the gun and it depends on the box because the guns aren't all the same and the boxes are not all the same.
No, they're not.
So anyway, so that gun is a little bit longer. So when you're talking about a half-inch difference or quarter-inch difference, I didn't find there was any difference whatsoever in terms of like accuracy. I would slow fire group it, shoot it at 50 yards, just like I do my stock 2, and I can't say that I found any particular difference that I would attribute to the sight radius in terms of accuracy. I print identical groups at 50 or whatever. So
I have a couple Limited Pros, or I had a couple, but they've since kind of gone to other people, and I didn't notice. It didn't matter. Not really. Not to me.
Yeah. Doesn't matter so much to me that I want to get a stock 2 and get rid of my Limited Pro. Well, it's worthless now, but
Candice, I don't think your Limited Pro is your problem. I think it's a good gun.
Well,
yeah, I know.
This is the thing. We need someone, Ben, to sell some Limited Pros here or top them up.
Working on it.
All right.
All right. Yeah, but I don't think there's much difference in the sight radius either, and that's why I don't feel that there's no advantage to that gun over a stock 2 because it's like half an inch or something. It's not
Every
really
angry inch, Candice.
A quarter-inch is what they advertise it at, but there's literally no difference between.
Oh, okay.
Between
yeah,
them.
there's really no difference.
All right, so whatever. I mean, I think on the extreme side of it, what is it like
I think you'll get a lot more difference on your bigger difference on your sight widths than you will on your radius, like how wide the front sight is versus the rear notch and all that stuff for your own personal preference.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed like going to a thinner front sight, does make a difference in terms of, like, especially how you perceive things being aligned or misaligned. Like the thinner the sight gets, you really start noticing sight misalignment. Yeah. I mean, for better or worse. Okay, well, all right, Candice, let's hit the next question.
Next question is,
sucked.
I know you're a production guy, but what do you think about shooting minor in limited? I averaged 92% of points in the last 5 matches, so points won't hurt too bad. I should be faster with a 9 versus a 40.
Well, you should be faster with a 9 versus 40. I would say no. You would think that in a subjective sense, shooting a 9 versus a 40, but like any indication I have from watching people at matches that you're going to shoot faster shooting major, because you can. That, and I think that if you want to win, you will not shoot minor and limited. That's just my honest take on it. I mean, there's just too much of an advantage to major. I'm not saying you can't overcome it, but if I wanted to win shooting limited, I would not shoot minor. How about you, Nick?
I would agree with that. I actually spent not a lot, but I went through the points, looking at detailed results from nationals last year, and one of the comparisons I was looking at was like, say, you and JJ versus Nils and Bogle, and so you guys were shooting in production, I think it was like 430 A's to win, and they were shooting like 380 some A's to win. So basically, you have to shoot major. You're not gonna, if you have to make up that point differential trying to shoot minor and limited, you're gonna have to slow down a lot probably to shoot that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying is people think like I'll shoot faster with less recoil, but the truth is you're really not. It's not going to work that way because you're going to get hit so hard on the scoring side.
And if it's limited, it's the mag capacity isn't as big an issue really as it would be like with single stack or something that might balance it out a little bit better, minor versus major.
Yeah, well, it's not balanced. I'm not sure that it's ever intended to be. Major's better.
Major is better.
It is better.
I will say the better you get, the more that it's going to matter. The more it's going to matter that you shoot major.
Yeah, I mean that's true. So if you're finishing 50% at your club match, shooting limited, and you for maybe there's some logistical reason, like you already load 9 for your buddy for production, so you just want to shoot not like limited minor for that reason because it'd be logistically easier. I mean that's fine, but I still say if you want to win, shoot major.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you look at like the ratio of that, so that 1 point that costs you is obviously a flat penalty for everybody. But the faster you get, the more that that point matters relative to your time, right? So as the better you get, the bigger penalty that point becomes.
Yes, relative to the rest of your score, especially if you're tearing through a stage as fast as like Nils would go. It's not like you're going to be faster than that. Right? Maybe you're going to be that fast someday, but you're not going to be substantially faster. But maybe with some training you could be as accurate or more accurate, right? But you're not going to be faster. It's not going to happen. All right, anything else to say about that? No.
No, shooting minor and limited is pretty dumb.
Limited minor is for...
Damn, Candice, we just should have led with that.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking dumb.
It's for
fuck
people,
off with your question.
I mean, it's for people who want to come try USPSA for the first time. They own a Glock 17 and 3 magazines. That's who it's for, in my opinion.
All right. That's an entirely reasonable point of view. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. If you want to hit up Candice, catch her on the YouTube channel. Just like @producer Kermit on Twitter.
I can't believe that's a real thing, by the way.
It's a real thing.
I thought that was a joke the first couple times that I heard.
No, it's. Okay. I wouldn't joke about Candice. Nick, if we want to get you, we got to find you on fucking Facebook or Duty Project or something, right?
Facebook's good. I got a YouTube channel, but Facebook.
Get a website, you retard. You'll be a lot more legit. All right, and
get an athlete page.
You need an athlete page, obviously.
Oh my God.
You're top 16, man. Get an athlete page.
Athlete page, yeah. That's that. I don't think Bogle has an athlete page, and I like Bogle, so I'm gonna. How about that? I won't get one. No.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
Why don't you shoot a Glock and really?
Well, I don't want to emulate him that much anymore.
Okay.
All right, good.
All right, I guess.
And of course, if you want to hit up me, head over to benstecker.com. You can send me an email if you have a question that you'd like answered. And if you want to come up with something better than should I shoot minor and limited, because I feel like that one's been beaten to death, that would be excellent if you have a question that's better than that.